like a journey. So let me see. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. That's fine. So we want to look at project life cycle and development approach. More or less the journey, this project journey, or this project management journey that we are going to embark upon. You know, you need to begin with the end in mind. You need to get a full picture of how this thing is, how you're going to do the traveling.
Okay.
You are traveling from KZN to Johannesburg. Okay. So you should have an idea of how the journey, the turns, the twists and turns in the journey, the junctions, the stop points, and all that. You need to have an idea and you need to plan for it. You see, because if you know how the journey is laid out, you can plan effectively for it, right?
Yes.
But if you don't know the journey, how do you plan for it? It becomes very difficult to plan because you don't know, you've never, remember, this is a new journey. You've never been on this journey before.
Yes.
Okay, but you try as much as possible to get a glimpse of how this journey is going to be like. Maybe somebody has been on this journey before, so you let the person help you. Okay, what are the problems on this journey? And so on and so forth. So that's what we are going to study today. The project life cycle, the roadmap. Okay, all right. So when we say a project life cycle, what are we talking about? What does it mean? In tobacco, what does it mean?
When you say life cycle, to me, it describes the, like you've just said, it is the journey, because life cycle is just like, let me just make a very typical example. Once a child is growing, uh, the child is born, growing up, but at the end, being an older person, you become like a child. That is where
Yeah.
the end it is.
Yeah.
So you should just have the
Yeah.
initial point and the end in
So
mind.
that is a very good analogy. A project is like a human being. We go through phases and stages in our development. There's a time when you were a baby, you become a toddler, then you become a teenager, then you become an adult, and then you get old, and so on and so forth. So that's what we are talking about, the life cycle. The project is going to go through stages and phases, a series of phases, okay, where the project is going to travel through these phases to the end. Okay, and that's what we call a project life cycle. Okay, all right, that's fine. So what is the purpose? Why this life cycle? Why this journey? Why should we have a life cycle in the first place to begin with? Why?
To continue with the analogy, it's because you need to know what is required at each phase. So for you to know what you need to do in the implementation, you need to plan, and for you to know how to plan, you need to know what needs to be done in planning.
And so
And then
on.
the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's mainly for planning purposes. You understand? Yeah, but one of the key purpose of having a project life cycle is, remember when we started, I told you a project is full of uncertainties and unknowns. Okay? So the reason why we have a life cycle which has been divided into phases is because of these uncertainties and unknowns. That's the reason. Okay, we don't want to just travel to Johannesburg. No, we don't want to do that. We want to take it step by step. We travel to Bloemfontein, then we stop. Okay? Then we look at the road ahead, then we travel again to another point, then we stop. Then we look at the road ahead, then we travel again until we get there. Okay? We are doing this deliberately. Okay? We are doing it deliberately because we don't know the road. Okay? There is uncertainty. Our world, there could be an accident on the road, or maybe the road is even blocked. You never know. Okay? So that is why we do it in phases, life cycle, phases. So that when we reach one stage and we realize the road is blocked, we'll have a new plan for the next phase, okay, or the next travel. Okay, so that is the key purpose, to manage the uncertainty associated with projects, especially the unknowns that we don't, that we don't know from the beginning. Okay. All right. So that's how it is. Okay. All right. Once you conquer one phase of the journey, you've cleared that particular phase of the journey. Now it will be the next phase, which you don't know, and then you plan for that one, and so on and so forth. So that's the purpose. But there are other purposes for having a project life cycle. It's also for resources. Okay. You don't have resources all the time for your projects, especially cash flow, budgeting, there are certain times there's money, there are certain times there's no money. So you will use this life cycle to manage your resources so that you know when to embark on the journey, that at this time, I have resources. At this time, I don't have, that kind of thing. So you use it to manage and control your resources so that you don't put all your resources into the journey. You do it bit by bit. Okay, all right. It also helps you, the project manager, to adapt your focus. There are certain times in the life cycle you'll be more focused on certain things. I'll show you shortly. And then there's other stages of the life cycle of the journey. Your focus will be on other things as well. Okay. It doesn't mean that you lose focus in other areas. You'll still be focused, but you pay more attention to certain things at certain stages of the life cycle. And life cycle 2 is an important input into your planning process. You need to know your life cycle. It is the bedrock upon which you are going to plan. Okay, so you need to get this roadmap. Okay, wherever it is, you have to look for it. And I'll show you most places where you can find this project life cycle. Okay, so do you know your project life cycle? Anybody managing projects, do you know the nature, your roadmap? Hello?
No, we don't have a roadmap of the project.
You don't have a roadmap. Tobacco, do you have a roadmap for your project?
Not as yet.
You haven't started yet. What about Lungi? You are not doing any project. Fine, that's okay. Yeah, but in case you get a chance to do a project, this is one of the first things you must ask the client. What is the roadmap? Okay? Most of the time, the client will tell you it is embedded in their methodology. Some of their organizational process assets. If you go to them, they'll tell you, this is how I want you to travel. Okay? Public Works has it. Normally, they put it in their project management methodology, the PMM. Okay. So ask them, please, where is your PMM? If you are lucky, you'll find it in the project agreement. It's spelled out in the project agreement. Okay, all right. So you need to get this stuff. Okay. All right, so that's the roadmap. Okay, so this roadmap, I'm talking about project management methodology. Every organization has a project management methodology. And this methodology is based on the project lifecycle. Okay, I remember when I was at OR Tambo District Municipality, one of the tasks that I was given is to develop a project management methodology for the infrastructure department. Yeah, and I developed it. Okay, some of the big organizations, they have their methodology. ESCOM, they have their methodology. Let's talk about those mining big companies. They all have their methodology. If you want to manage a project for them, you have to follow their methodology. And that methodology is based on the life cycle of the project. Okay. All right, that's fine. So that's the purpose of a life cycle. Okay, we use it to develop a framework or a methodology for running our projects. Okay. So let's look at the project life cycle in general. Projects generally have 4 stages. All projects. I'm not being specific on any particular project. All projects that you are going to handle is going to have